Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Oh, the Illblurmatic.
Welcome back to Illblurmatic, and today we are back with another review of Stargirl Season 2, Episode 4, titled Summer School. Yes, I know it sounds annoying that maybe I'm saying this, but that's the name of Season 2. They didn't give a specific episode names, which is totally different, but I'm okay with that. So let's get right into this. So, in this episode, it starts off with Artemis. I was like, what? Artemis? Like, we kind of got a chance to see her in season 1, but I'm got like a feeling, like a gut feeling that season 2, we're gonna see more of Artemis this season. Okay, so we see Artemis talking to her parents behind a jail cell wall, visiting her mother, visiting her father, pretty much complaining about her new living conditions. Because we got to remember, Artemis' parents got arrested last season, and we see them saying, look, everything's going to be okay. Like unconditional love. Her parents showing that, hey, look, things going to be all right. We understand the situation that you're in. But, you know, this is where we're at right now. We see her talk to her mother. We see her talk to her father. And we know that the mother and father goes by pretty much, the father is Sportsmaster, also known as Crusher. Her mother's Tigress. They haven't really said her actual name. And we see that they really appreciate Artemis. They care about their daughter. It's a tough time for Artemis. So I like that we see Artemis a little bit more this season of Stargirl season compared to season 1. But season 2, I got a feeling Artemis is going to be a part of this season a little bit more. Also in this episode, we see Courtney stumble across her and Pat, her mother and father, pretty much discussing Eclipso. She's trying to figure out who Eclipso is. Pat is kind of reluctant. Like, he's like, look, I don't really want to tell you who Eclipso is, because I think there's a secret kind of brewing with Pat knowing a little bit more than what he's saying to tell his stepdaughter Courtney. Understandable, because he was a part of it. He was a sidekick. I'm pretty sure he knows some stuff about Eclipso he does not want Courtney, also known as Stargirl, to know about. And we see them have a conversation. Courtney kind of comes in when Barbara, her mother, her actual mother, and her stepfather discussing the matter of should they tell a little bit more about Eclipso. And she tells Pat how she knows due to Beth. And yeah, of course, Beth would know about pretty much Eclipso, because remember in the previous episode, the goggles told her about Eclipso. Danger, danger, Eclipso. So in this episode, we see Beth pretty much snooping around at home and also trying to get her parents back together in this season. And literally, when you really think about it, it's like, wow. And trying to keep her secret identity away from her parents, knowing that she is the new Dr. Midnight. So we see Beth say, hey, let's go to this restaurant that we all went to, you know, her mother and father when they were together. And mom's like, no, I can't do that. We see Beth have the goggles on, takes them off quickly. And when her mother leaves officially, she puts the goggles back on to see what the goggles are telling her pretty much. And it's like searching for Eclipso. So I do like that we see, like I said, Beth still trying to figure out who is Eclipso. Also, I forgot to mention, Pat does confirm who Eclipso is to Courtney. Pretty much, Eclipso is this shadow devil that pretty much preys on the people's fears and insecurities type of thing, plays with their mind. And pretty much that is the jewel, the black jewel. And I was like, what? So pretty much we kind of could tell that maybe Sydney is the one that has the actual jewel, because the jewel's been doing things and telling her things. And pretty much in this episode, we see Sydney seeing her actual deceased mother and, her mother being full of regret and remorse. And, Sydney's like freaked out. She's telling pretty much Eclipso, hey, stop doing that. I don't like you doing that. But also in this episode, we see Sydney pretty much trying to recruit a new Injustice Society, which is very interesting. We see her first recruit is the Fiddler. Pretty much the Fiddler's son, because remember, the wife died in last season, the husband had died. So pretty much the son, Isaac. And it was kind of odd. Isaac, like, you really want to be friends with me? Because Isaac's the nerdy kid. Pretty much Sydney's the popular kid at Blue Valley. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of weird. Isaac is not, he has like this antisocial thing about him. But it's interesting that Sydney does want to recruit him for the new Injustice Society. I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. Like, hey, go get the people that were a part of this. Their family has, family tree. You know what I'm saying? So it was really cool that she did recruit him first. I thought for sure she was going to recruit Artemis first, but Artemis was her second draft pick. Okay, second draft pick. I was like, okay, so we see that. Also in this episode, we see that Artemis' parents escape prison, pretty much. They make it back to Blue Valley, and unfortunately, gosh, boy, Mike been struggling this season. Pat's son been struggling this season, and Courtney's brother. It's like, it's like, dude, you just always in the middle of something. Poor Mike is the paper boy still, unfortunately, and pretty much Crusher comes across him while he's looking at a newspaper, and Tigress grabs him up, and pretty much Pat has to pretty much come find out where is Mike. And Mike's situation is kind of crazy because now that Crusher, also known as Sportsmaster, and Tigress are back in Blue Valley, what are they here for? So pretty much they negotiate with Pat, say, hey, look, we're here to see our daughter play football because Artemis is a sports jock. She's a prodigy at that. I was like, yo, she can throw a football. I was like, wow. And pretty much they said they just want to see their daughter play her game and everything. They're like, but, pretty much they say, hey, look, that's all we're here for now. Look, if you don't want to do this, we can expose your dirty secret. Because you got to realize, pretty much Sportsmaster, also known as Crusher, knows Pat's secret because remember they befriended each other in the previous season, and also Tigress because Tigress was there at their house. Remember when Courtney's mother fought Tigress, and also Courtney as Stargirl, which was a dope fight scene. But I was like, I'm like, Pat, it looked like you in a sticky situation, bruh. But also in this episode, we learned about Eclipso's origin. So Eclipso's origin was on Diablo Island. Diablo Island is this island that was by two tribes, and eventually they died off. But an explorer came across this island, and he was the only known person to have survived Diablo Island. Like, come on, like Shadow Devil, Diablo Island, So it was very interesting to see that. Yes, the jewel had an original origin. They found that out pretty much. Rick, Beth, Yolanda, all of them coming together and stuff. I thought that was really interesting to learn about the history of the Black Jewel. Also in this episode, we see Artemis and literally Courtney kind of exchange, not necessarily friendly gestures, but kind of becoming cool with one another. You know what I'm saying? Courtney, pretty much Artemis is like, where's any of the healthy food? Artemis is like this health nut, and she's like, there's no healthy food on the menu. And Courtney gives her the apple. And, Courtney tries to apologize due to the awkwardness with her pretty much. And literally, Artemis tastes the apple, but then, she ends up squashing it and bumps Courtney's shoulder. I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. So there's definitely some tension. Maybe Artemis is still the thing is with Artemis is how Courtney said it, yeah, I'm sorry to hear about your parents. And she's like, how you know about this? Like, I ain't told nobody about this type of thing. And her being, pretty much having to deal with a new family. You know what I'm saying? So I guess Artemis was kind of ticked off. She's like, I didn't tell you this. And, I could see like the beef between her and Yolanda. That was hilarious. Yolanda looking at her like, yeah, we know what's going on. We know your parents are super villains. Okay. So it was an awkward exchange. And it happens. You go to school with people and sometimes you just have awkward situations. That's school for you, right? So we see that, but now we see pretty much Courtney also in this episode being adventurous. We see Courtney go to this antique shop. She's looking for this particular book on the Explorer to find out that the guy that owns the antique bookstore or shop, whatever you want to call it, is actually Shade. Yes, it was Shade himself. And I think with this, it was very interesting, the encounter between Shade and pretty much Courtney, because he said, hey, don't compare me to Brainwave. Don't compare me to Jordan Icicle Sr. You're like, I'm not them, okay? Like, don't ever put me in a category of villains as them two. We is not having that. And you can see he was like really mad about that. We also say, hey, he like, look, I know the JSA dirty secret, meaning that I know originally what happened to the original Dr. Midnight, because she's like, why are you here in Blue Valley? He's like, hey, look, let me handle it. You know what I'm saying? So Shade has some guilt and remorse. For him to be a villain this season, I'm like, I kind of could understand why he's back, but I don't necessarily know exactly all the modal of it. So we see this encounter be very interesting because we see Courtney ask questions. He said, oh, you didn't know? Pat didn't tell you? Stripesy didn't tell you? I said, uh-oh, you dropped a bomb on me, baby. So pretty much, literally what happens is Shade says, hey, look, what happened is Dr. Midnight's daughter got killed by Eclipso. So the creature, the entity, pretty much killed Dr. Midnight's daughter. And that's why he wants to get rid of the Black Jewel. I was like, what? Like, it seems like Shade is kind of like taking like I pretty much turned over a new leaf. And I'm just like, yo, he's really trying to change. You know what I'm saying? He's not like villain, but he kind of like, yeah, you still got a motive. You know what I'm saying? So he told Courtney, like, look, I'm just trying to get rid of the jewel. I'm trying to throw it in the deepest, darkest place and trying to get rid of it. Because I think it wasn't intentional that he tried to kill Dr. Midnight's daughter. Okay? Like, 10-year-old daughter? Nah. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. Also in this episode, we see that pretty much Courtney being upset with Pat. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you didn't tell me that the original Dr. Midnight's daughter was killed by Eclipso? She's a little disappointed in Pat. But could you expect Pat to be like, tell all the JSA dirty secrets? No! He's not doing all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a sidekick. Remember? Stripesy, he's a sidekick. Okay, he's not main superhero. But we could understand why he doesn't want the same thing to happen to him. Not necessarily to him, to Courtney, I should say. And it was very interesting to see the exchange, like how Courtney was like, felt like pretty much she didn't trust him. And I was like, well, Pat can't tell you just everything just yet. We also see Barbara, her mother, and also Pat, pretty much her stepfather, discussing pretty much what should we do? Should we tell Courtney more about the JSA and everything? And I thought that was really cool. I was like, okay, maybe he's considering it. Also, we see in this episode, Courtney kind of do her own thing. She's like, well, since Pat won't tell me everything that I want to know, I'm going to go visit Shade myself. Like, I was like, okay, Courtney, you got your butt kicked last time. You admitted it that you got your butt kicked. Your whole team got their butt kicked, right? Now you talking about going to visit them, and the staff is like, nah, sis, nah, you ain't going nowhere. but eventually gives in to Courtney not wanting to listen to the staff itself. Also, we see Bev try to figure out what's going on because the Goggles is now saying, like, where's Pat? The Goggles are talking to her, and he said, oh, I'm so-and-so, by the way. So the original Dr. Midnight is apparently still alive inside probably the staff, the magic that Shade uses, because we see like this shadowy like realm and the original Dr. Midnight in there. And I was like, oh my God. But also in this episode, we see what I have been planning to see. After Artemis's football game, literally, and Sydney had her tripping, thinking that her parents were about to get arrested. Pretty much Sydney recruits Artemis. Artemis was supposed to be this sports protege, and finding out that her parents were actually supervillains probably took a toll on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, finding out your parents were criminals, that's it's not a good look, right? It's not a good look. But her parents wanting the best for her was the good thing about it. But not being able to get recruited to be in sports took a toll on her. We see Sydney and her having a exchange. And literally, we see Sydney pretty much trying to recruit her. She already recruited Isaac, the Fiddler's kid. Now she's recruiting Artemis. And I'm pretty sure, I got a feeling she's going to either recruit Icicle Jr., or it may be another one of the other kids that's going to be a part of the Justice Society that she's trying to create. But I gotta say, this episode did it. You know what I'm saying? I like that we saw, you know, a little bit more about Shade. I got a feeling with this season of Stargirl, we're going to see Shade's origin story. Also, we learned why Shade couldn't stand the other Injustice Society members. He wasn't a team player. He didn't like Jordan. He didn't like Brainwave. He just wasn't a team player. Even Sportsmaster mentioned it when Pat tried to interrogate him. He's like, yo, I never really cared for dude. He wasn't a team player. He was alright. You know, that type of thing. We also see Tigress pretty much connect with Courtney's mom. But I thought this episode was really good, man. A lot of different angles. Like I said, we learned the encounter with Shade and Courtney was really cool. But have you seen the latest episode of Stargirl, episode 4, season 2? You tell me in the comments, guys. Your boy Illblurmatic, and I'm